Hello friends and welcome to the Old Bank of Johnston. I'm glad you're here. I used to say the old abandoned Bank of Johnston, but it's not so abandoned anymore. We've been doing great things here to make this into more of a living space. I know I showed you a place where we have available to stay, but we don't take advantage of that very much, although we appreciate it. We spend most of our time here. There's a lot to do. We've got to get things done. We work late, so we just stay here. And in order to stay here comfortably, we've got to make this more like a home. So today we're going to hang some art and I'll show you around what it's like to live here in the building. And also I'll show you what our next step is to improve the building, not just making it more of a home. We spent the last couple of months off site. Sarah was traveling, she went to see friends and family. I was fortunate enough to work for the Kiteman Group, flying kites. On a kite team, we do synchronized kiting. We were working at America's Roller Coast, Cedar Point. We were performing there for about 6 weeks. It was awesome. Sarah and I did a little traveling, and in all of that, we learned something about the building. We learned from the water department that there was a pretty substantial leak somewhere, and we know that because, well, we owe a lot of money on the water bill that we weren't here to use. So they contacted us and said, hey, what are you guys doing over there? We're doing nothing. In fact, we're not even here. So we're going to tackle that. And thanks to today's sponsor, Temu, I have got access to lots of tools for a really good price that I'm going to use to fix that problem and tackle a lot of other things in this building. Especially, it's convenient because driving to all these box stores to buy these expensive tools, it takes a lot of gas money and time. It's a lot easier just to go online and order these things when you need them. And Temu has some amazing stuff. My friends kind of make fun of me sometimes because I order probably too much stuff on Temu and some ridiculous things. But now, since we have a goal and a purpose here, I've been ordering a lot of tools. And thanks to them, we're well on our way to progress. One thing that I picked up from them is, and I'm very excited about, is this tape measure. It is a laser. It's extremely accurate. I read through the instructions when I got it. I'm completely impressed. I never thought that I'd be using a digital laser tape measure because this is my go-to. It's probably most people's go-to tape measure. Fits. I know exactly when I feel it, how to put it in the holster. I think I might be sold on this one now. I've used this for like 25 years or more. Not this exact one. They last about 5 years. And then, well, it depends on how you use it, but this one is going to come in handy for a lot of things. I'm going to keep this around as a backup, but I'm putting this in my holster from now on. And because Temu is our sponsor today, if you go over to temu.com and type in the coupon code you see at the bottom of the screen, or you can hit pause for a second, scan the QR code. That's going to take you right here to my page on Temu. You can see some of the things that we have purchased that I'll show you live in action in a few minutes. You can search for anything you want to. Fill your cart with it. You will not be disappointed. I bought so many tools on Temu already. I bought a lot of small trinket things. I have an air freshener in my car with a little kitty cat face. It smells wonderful. I got it on Temu a couple months ago. Still smells good. Everything I bought on there has been fun and useful and really good quality. Everything really has been amazing. I'm totally impressed. I am happy that they are sponsoring today's video. I'm going to show you now some of the other things that we are using from Temu. Going to have to go outside and face the rain. The hurricane is coming. It's the only way we have to go up to the apartment. We can hear the rain pounding down on the rooftop. But here is the clothes rack that we purchased. Sarah wanted something nice to put her clothes on. We can cover this up and protect it all from the dust. But it's very nice. It's sturdy. It's more sturdy than what I thought it was going to be. It holds a lot of stuff. It's very convenient. And we decorate a little bit with these plants nearby. The clothes rack really ties the room together, doesn't it? Because, well, I guess there's nothing else in the room but our bed over here. This is our sleeping area back there. That's all you're going to really see up here. There's nothing else up here besides, well, our bedroom. and Sarah's clothes. I keep my clothes in the van. I have a clothes rack down there. Just allows more space. And if they get a little damage from the sun or a little rainwater that comes in back there, well, that's okay on my clothes, not her clothes. So we had to get a nice clothing rack for Sarah. And we got a couple other things too. I forgot to mention that we bought this basket on Temu as well. It's a nice basket, like heavy duty. Not something I normally would have picked, but it looks nice up there. The last item that we got in the Temu order this time is these solar powered string lights, these Edison bulb string lights. It really is convenient for us because we don't have any place to plug in any lighting yet. So the solar powered lights are awesome out here in this outdoor shower area. I haven't shown you any of this part yet, but this is a great addition to it. We've got to do some work down here that I'm going to be explaining in just a little bit. But thank you, Temu. Don't forget to go over to temu.com, type in that code, and you're going to get yourself a discount and probably surprise yourself with all the great stuff that they have. A couple of times in life, I've went on a vacation, went on some kind of a work journey, and while I was gone, some major catastrophe happened that probably could have been prevented if I were there. Well, in this case, a catastrophe was happening even while we were here. We didn't know it. We found out while we were gone thanks to the water department. And now it's been my job to discover, well, how the heck we're going to alleviate this problem. So I'm going to show you back into the shower area again, because that's where I thought the source of the problem was originally. But let me just show you what's going on. Right out here to the side of the building, see by the vanity, underneath the vanity is our water meter. And instead of the water line going from there to here inside the building, it goes from there all the way down the sidewalk right over to, well, there's where the giant puddle of water is forming in front of our neighbor's building. That means that the water line somewhere is leaking, under there, somewhere out here. We're not really sure. And on a day like today where there's water everywhere, you can't really tell, but there's always water sitting out here ever since we turned our water on to the building. Previously, the water line came right up here underneath the stairs and into the building about 8 feet up. It was very inconvenient, so we decided to change where that water was coming in so we didn't have to step around it when we're getting in the shower area, and it wouldn't be unsightly just in the way. Let me get out of the rain. Back in the shower area again, which is coming together nicely. I had to dig all this out. All this looked like that, had nice gravel in it, had some decorative rocks, but that's all taken out now because where the water comes in, I thought maybe when I attached it all, there was a leak there, but there's not. This is all standing water from the rainstorm, so nothing to be concerned about. We discovered that no water was leaking at any of the unions that I soldered. This is the first time I've worked with 2-inch copper. I've never soldered that big of a pipe before, but that's what we're working with. I'm gonna fill this all in after I do some repair work on the brick down here. It needs to be stuccoed and waterproofed, but this is not the problem. This is all gonna have to get taken apart though, unfortunately. It really is too bad because this took a lot of time in planning. It's not cheap to buy all this copper, especially the 2-inch copper. It's very expensive stuff. And the fittings are very expensive. The valves are very expensive. So we're going to have to use as much of this again as possible. So it's an opportunity for me to learn how to disassemble soldered joints, which is possible. I've done it in the past a couple of times. It's not fun to do. So I'm going to try to keep this all intact as much as possible and reuse the configuration 30 feet away where the water will now be coming in the building. So it's just an opportunity. That's all I'd say. We'll tackle that when the time comes, which is going to be probably as soon as the rain stops, maybe in a couple days. Until then, we got some more planning to do for, well, the next big project that we'll be working on right after this water gets fixed. That next big project is fixing all of these rafters up here because the floor has giant holes in it. These are damaged beyond repair. Water damage over the years has caused that to all go awry. The first 3 boards need totally replaced. There's no sistering even involved there. They need replaced. And that same thing goes for this area where I'm not sure what was happening here. Maybe they had a stairway that came down, but these need replaced too. These 3 boards all the way across the entire span. You might be saying to yourself, wow, Dre, that is a big job. How the heck are you going to do that? It's just you and Sarah. Well, I've got a plan. It involves some winches, pulleys, and maybe help from a couple of friends to move these gigantic boards that were left here in the building for us. These were in the very first video or the second video where I was cleaning up the place. I haven't touched them since then. This is where I've just left them. They're so darn heavy. So I've got a plan to reuse these things. I'm not sure exactly how that's all going to come together though, because I've never done a project like that exactly, but I'm going to. So we'll figure it out when the time comes, but that's not going to be for a little while, like maybe a week or 2 at the most. I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff today though. All these big jobs and the heavy lifting and the water and working in the rain and all that stuff. Who cares? That's for another day, like tomorrow. For today, I'm going to follow suit with Sarah, just focus on making this a more livable home for both of us. And that is including hanging up some artwork, which I'm very excited about. You probably noticed this in the background the last couple of minutes. This big giant piece, Sarah's upstairs right now just picking out a place to hang that on one of those studs. And the owl, we're going to hang that upstairs too. But this other piece, this is a very special piece. This is a most pricey piece of art. I created this myself. It's just a shingle from a house that I was working on about a year and a half ago. You know, as a self-employed handyman, sometimes you get in over your head. And that's what happened on this job. It took 5.5 months of oil-based paint all over my hands and stuff, and eventually on this board. Every day when I was done painting, I would put my paintbrush on this thing before cleaning it all off when I was in process of cleaning up the job site. And it accumulated quite an artistic mess there. So I decided to keep it around as a reminder that, well, jobs are sometimes unpredictable, and you never know what's going to happen on them. And sometimes you lose your shirt. Sometimes things work out, but always at the end, it ends. Just like that job. As miserable as it was, it turned out amazing, and this is what I have to show for it. So if anyone would like to buy this, it is for sale. The price tag? $78,000. It is for sale. If anybody's interested, you can help the channel, help the process of the building go a little faster, you can buy that piece of art from me, and it is for sale. So spread the word, consider it, and I'll share my personal info with you if you're really interested. My work art is not the first piece that is going to be hung on the walls, though. The very first piece that will be hung anywhere in the building is going to be another priceless piece. Priceless because I participated in this flight, but this piece right here, this is from our most recent experience flying kites over at Cedar Point. My friend Brett Marshall gifted all of us on the team with this nice metal printed sign with one of our show kites in it. Brett actually not only took this photo and was kind enough to give this to us, but he also made the kite in the image on his sewing machine. He's a great kite maker, great kite flyer. He was our team leader. And not only all of that, but he has a YouTube channel as well. It's called Brett Marshall Adventures. Go over there and check him out. You're going to see a lot of kiting stuff, a lot of cool adventures, goofy stuff that he does. Go over to his channel. I'll put a link in the description below. I think you're going to like that. But this is going to be the very first piece of art that we hang on the walls. I got the perfect place for it right now. Let's do it. The perfect place, right here next to the guitar, the place I'm going to see it all the time, above our CDs and the the CD player that we found here in the building. But I've already put a screw in the brick. There it is. Wonderful. I'm going to probably cover this thing with some plastic wrap so it doesn't get so dusty over time, but awesome. There it is. I love a nice piece of art, especially one that I'm really connected to. Thanks a lot, Brett. I appreciate it. Now we got to find a place to hang the work art and the owls. I think the owls and this big piece are going to go upstairs. This piece, although it looks kind of mundane the way it is, I got this for $5 at the 40 Mile garage sale that went right through Johnston a couple months ago. Got both of these at that 40 Mile garage sale. And this one just seemed like it was ripe for a change. So I'm going to do a little project on this guy. We're going to hang it up now anyway, though. It's a nice painting. It makes me think of Italy, many years ago, maybe. So I got some ideas on that. This is a different video, though. Since Sarah and I were gone for what seemed like a very long time, we accumulated a lot of mail while we were gone. I love getting mail. And a couple of subscribers have sent things. One, my friend Joel, who has been a longtime friend, found this oven mitt, or you call it, it's not a mitt, right? This is like a coaster? I can't remember what you call these that you put a hot pan on, but it's got peaches. So we've been hanging it here in the building too. Maybe this is considered the first piece of art because I hung this on our tool shelf for a little while the last few days. But here's another thing I got in the mail. It's very special. This month was my birthday, so my grandpa sent me a birthday card. I love getting a birthday card from him. But the coolest thing that he does every single month, the guy's in his mid-90s, and he's got a very nice artistic ability. He colors these every month, colored pencils, and writes a devotional. This is a little Bible verse on here, but he writes a very involved devotional series and sends that to me and some other family members and friends. But each of us get one of these cool things in the mail, and it's just a nice way for him to pass some time and keep his mind sharp. He is sharp as a tack. Love the guy. He's a great inspiration to me. Definitely one of my council of wisdom, I call it, a group of men that I keep around that I refer to for different things in life. And Grandpa is definitely on that list. But some other people that I hold close to me and friends that I surrounded myself with that are very positive people are my friends over at the Kiteman Group. They gifted me some items for the channels that I have. This one here, they made this mug. They print things now. So it's not just kites and performers, but they print on kites, they print feather banners, they print all kinds of things, including mugs and cups. So got one of my logos on there. One of my other channels, the Brew Traveler, and my newest logo for World's Greatest Kiting is there, a little kite in the skull. So they made me this nice mug, and they even made a pint glass with the Brew Traveler logo on it. I think it's so cool. As soon as they gave it to me, I drank a beer out of it. But I love those guys over there. I appreciate everything that they have done and making the kiting experience happen, because that's how I've made some income in the last couple of months. I'd like to say that YouTube is my full-time job, but it's not. And I have to rely on doing handyman work. And fortunately, I rely on doing kiting work when that comes around. But I really appreciate what they have done and taking the interest in putting my logos on some stuff and gifting it. Brian and John over at Kiteman, thank you very much. Brian has been very helpful in this process of the bank as well, because he's researched some things that I didn't even know. He informed me the other day that there was a dentist that resided upstairs. His office was up there. We had no idea that a dentist's office was in here. He also tracked down some really cool things that we'll be talking about in the upcoming videos, especially around Halloween spooky time. He found some interesting information. So again, thank you, Brian, for that. I'm using that mug every day now since I got it. I love that stuff. So I'm going to make those available to you eventually. If you want a mug like this or a pint glass with one of my logos on it, those are going to be available on my website pretty soon at DraytonCallison.com. So that'll be down the road too. Well, I think we should get to hanging one of these other pieces of art. Well, there's the owls hanging on the stud. And the other one, this is where it's going to live for now because, well, we don't really know where to put it yet. But it's going to just sit here and look nice in this space. Hanging that artwork on the walls sure feels good. It does make it feel a little more like home when you see something familiar on the walls, like the kiting image back here. That's nice to see. It's nice to see the owls. That reminds me of being wise in my decisions, and the painting of the Italian setting there. That's inspiring because I know what I'm going to do to it in the future, and it makes me laugh a little bit every time. So these are all positive things. I like hanging that art around. And also, yesterday we had a little bit of time before the rain came to do work around here. We were really busy, so I didn't turn the camera on much. One thing I did record was providing all this light in here. I took down all the plywood boards that were covering up the doors and windows and created a nicer spot for us to relax in. These are our chairs. This is our living room area over here. So we use the tripod and put one of our iPhones in it to watch TV in the evening times. TV as in, Amazon Prime or something like that. But I run through my data pretty quickly, so it's slow going. A lot of things it's so much lag time. So we just do a lot of hanging out here. But that's our hangout spot right there. We needed more light. The street light is right out here, so it really is bright in here in the evening time. I love it. It's really nice. It's a good place to sit back and relax with a cold pint, or a room temperature pint in our case. We do have a cooler that we use, but a lot of the times we use that for food stuff, and I don't mind drinking a room temperature beer, so we do that a lot. This is a nice environment, and it's going to make the upstairs, when we get to building the apartment and get that done, it's going to seem like the most luxurious place in the world. Because we're pretty used to this. This isn't the situation that we would love to live in, but we like it. It's good for us, and we like the process. You can't appreciate the final result unless you go through the pain to get there. So we're doing the best we can to make this as pain-free as possible with our resources, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. And just putting together a little area like this and having access to a guitar, even though there's no strings on it right now, I've got to replace those today. It's nice. We like it here. Tomorrow, or whenever the rain stops, I'm going to get to the project of repairing the water leak, cutting the concrete, digging a hole, core drilling through wherever part of the concrete inside here. We're going to try to go in the building through the floor rather than outside up the wall. There's things I've been thinking about, but I can plan all that I want to, but it really doesn't make any difference until you get into the project and find out what obstacles you're working with as it goes. I can only guess what is going to go into this project, but nonetheless, I hope you join me for it. I think it's going to be fun. I try to make all of these surprise attacks as fun as possible and include you in on them. So join me for that. You're going to learn a thing or two along with me. I've never done a project like that before, from the meter on into the house or the building, especially with pipe this size. But I'm not scared about it. It's just like adult Legos. I explain it to people. All this stuff is pretty easy. Construction, it's just sticks and glue and nails and screws and a little ingenuity, and you can build a house. So join me in the next video, and we'll take that adventure together. I'm glad you were here with us today, friends. I really appreciate your company. I'll see you in the next video. Maybe when that rain clears out, I'll go fly a kite before I start digging a hole. It's probably a good idea.